Hello, everybody. Welcome to this early recording edition of the Real Sports Scope. Happy Monday. I hope everybody's staying safe in the Northeast. I know there's a major snowstorm. I've seen some of the live feeds there and streaming from TikTok off the people, New York City, Connecticut area. A lot of snow up there. Hope everybody's staying safe. Congratulations to the men's hockey team winning the first gold medal in 46 years since the Miracle on Ice. But tonight, going to talk about, or the early this morning, it's technically, folks, 3:39 a.m. when I'm recording this thing. I woke up and couldn't sleep, so I figured, you know what? Instead of going back to sleep, let me go ahead and work on the program now, record it, get it over with. Maybe I'll get some sleep in before work this morning, okay? I think Duke's the number one team in the country in college basketball right now. When the AP rankings come out, I'm pretty sure they're going to be. But actually, I think there are the best teams. So I'll talk about that big win over Michigan. Joey Aguilar talked about that. That's a big college football story in general. It looks like the junior college argument did not work. He got denied. I'll go into that. But also Jackson Smith-Njigba, a telling sign out of Seattle. I know they just won the Super Bowl. Everything looks great. Nobody's talking about that. But he says, I want to be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. He's coming in the year 4 of his contract. I got a few opinions on that one as well. So stand by. We'll take our first and only break. I'll be back here momentarily. We'll hit the ground running on this short early morning edition of the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then, again, hats off to the men's hockey team in the Winter Olympics. Winning the gold medal here, first time in 46 years. By the way, I know I always plug these things, but they're great. I love sports documentaries. Great sports documentary on the 1980 men's hockey team beating the Russians back in 1980. It's on Netflix. Check that out, folks. Really good stuff here. And again, kudos. Big win, overtime win over Canada. I remember Canada beating the U.S. in a game a few years ago. And, boy, they never let us at one of those U.S.-Canada champion. I don't know. It was in the I don't remember if it was Olympics or not. But either way, yeah, they did a lot of bragging. So United States gets the bragging rights back. Okay, now, Duke, Michigan, biggest game over the weekend. And hey, this is my first college wager of the weekend on FanDuel. I took UConn to bounce back, and of course they did. They're coming off of a loss here over Creighton, and I took underdog. Yeah, Duke was the underdog. This was a neutral site game. You usually don't get those neutral site games this late into the season, not unless it's actually the tournament per se or the conference tournament. This game was played in Washington, D.C. Great game. Looked like a Final Four game as advertised. Duke and Michigan. Took me back to the early 90s when the Fab Five played against Mike Krzyzewski's Duke team there. I think Danny Hurley was on that team as well. They ended up winning a national championship. Great win there. Listen, Cameron Boozer, the son of Carlos Boozer, I know he doesn't have the actual numbers and accolades. He's not looked at as the air quote best player, young player in the country that's going to be drafted high. I know that Kansas is, oh God, what's this guy's name? The guy out of Kansas. I didn't put his name down. I mean, he is just so inconsistent. DeAndre, whatever his name is, AJ Daspia, and of course the guy from. Let me make sure. I think I got these guys' name down here. Yeah. Darian Peterson from Kansas, considered a number one player, missed a lot of time this year due to injury. Checked himself out of games. Kansas seems to be in somewhat of a free fall. I don't think they're going to get to the Final Four. And of course, AJ Dubinsky for BYU. Now his numbers are better, but I'm saying right now, if you just look at floor presence from Cameron Boozer, he looks like the best player in the country as far as floor presence, making the team better. Almost had a triple-double in the biggest game of the season, 18, 10, and 7. Really showed up and showed out there. Great court vision, looked like the best player. Like I said, not rated as high as DeAndre and of course, AJ Dubinsky out of BYU. But, like I said, this Kansas guy seems to be more trouble than he's worth. Boozer, that's Boozer's number. And of course, just Duke as a whole, love their rebounding ability, love the guard play, love the defense. We know the defense. Now, I said this last year and they lost. Of course, Cooper Flagg, it's really hard kind of got some bad calls there. At the end of the Houston game in the Final Four last year, still thought that they probably should have beat Houston. That being said, they blew a big lead. Not really sure if they would have beat that Florida team in the national championship, but that was last year. But this year, Duke looks to be, with this particular win and the way they played, they're the number 3. I expect when the rankings come in, I think they come out today, they'll be the number 1 team. And as of right now, I've watched a few Arizona games. I've watched Michigan twice. The 2 games I've seen Michigan play, they've lost both of them. Wisconsin, and of course this particular game. I mean, it was just a 5-point game. Defensive struggle was at 68-63. I do think that Duke, also seeing Iowa State, who lost this week, and Kansas. We talked about Kansas a minute ago. I do think Duke's the number 1 team. I think they're the favorite to win the national championship. They probably will be the favorite, but they do look like the best team. Obviously, it's going to depend on the draw, keeping players healthy, and all that stuff. But this really, really shows that they look to be that team. Now, as far as Michigan is concerned, I did make a note. Michigan, big team, going to get far. Probably a Final Four team as of today. But that being said, I don't think they got the guard play to win it. They're very reliant on their senior Yaxel Lindenborg. Now, he's a great player, number 23, like Jordan, right? Number 23. Like the way this guy plays, the senior there. But you cannot be that dependent on your power forward here. You need more guard play, and I do not see the consistent guard play out of this Michigan team to win a national championship. I would not put them in the bubble. Could be wrong. See the same thing with Arizona. Probably give a slight edge to Arizona over Michigan, but we'll see how this thing plays out. I think Arizona, that conference at the Big 12 now, I think that conference this year is the best conference in college basketball, particularly at the top. Okay, a football story here. I love to lean into the NFL story over the past few days. I read this, I think, Saturday, that Jackson Smith-Njigba. Now, listen, coming off of a Super Bowl win, Sam Darnold still probably, I wouldn't consider him to be a great quarterback. He is slightly above average right now. Hey, listen, they got the Super Bowl win. He is dancing in glory. The team should be on cloud nine, but it's always good to look ahead. Jackson Smith-Njigba, the best wide receiver in the NFL this year, without a doubt, especially all you fantasy players. You all know what it is. He's going into year 4 of his contract. Now, mind you, he did replace DK Metcalf, and they moved Metcalf over to Pittsburgh. Did not lose a beat here. Actually, it helped him shine more. And of course, I forgot who the other guy, Tyler Lockett there, and there's a lot of, hey, they're a little thin. They made the trade, picked up another receiver there, and they got some tight ends play and really good running backs. That being said, what is his name? Shaheed. Remember they brought Shaheed. He's more of a kind of a gadget guy, straight line runner, doesn't run a lot of routes. He's going to be a free agent. About Smith-Njigba, saying, I want to be the highest paid. I deserve to be the highest paid. When you hear that, it's right now, his stock is never going to be higher. It's not, I mean, if I'm Snyder, John Snyder, that's the general manager up there in Seattle, I'm looking around and I'm saying, okay, process of moving on from Smith-Njigba should start today. All right. Looking at just other wide receivers, folks. Other wide receivers that are air quote highest paid. Let's see where they're at. Jamar Chase, $40 million. What's happening there? $40 million too. He's the number one receiver. They also paid T. Higgins a ton of money. Can't make the playoffs. Can't field a defense. Justin Jefferson, $35 million. Have problems at quarterback, but they didn't make the playoffs this year, folks. It is what it is. CeeDee Lamb, another team, can't field a defense out in Dallas. He's at $34 million. DK Metcalf, we saw the problems that he has gotten. Seattle moved on for him for a reason. Suspended 2 games. Didn't really cost Pittsburgh at the end, but that actually did away with his guarantees. Not really an impact there. Okay, Garrett Wilson with the Jets. Should I say anything else? They're picking number 2. Terry McLaurin, remember he got his big raise. They were a total disaster this year. A.J. Brown's at number 7. They're already trying to move off him. There's rumors he's going to move off, that Philadelphia move off him. Now, of course, listen, Tennessee had the same problem with A.J. Brown, knee injury, whatnot. Wasn't really sure about paying him. Gets traded. They get a first and a third round pick for him. And, of course, John Robertson, the general manager, who was making a flood of mistakes there, totally missed on both picks there. But they got a first and a third there. He goes on to Philadelphia and wins the Super Bowl. He's a great impact player. That being said, there's a tall tale then. Guys, that position, Brandon Ayuk, held out money, behavior problems, not going in, doing his rehab. 49ers basically said he's never going to play. John Lynch? He's never going to play another down with us. Remember Michael Thomas? I remember reading about the star wide receiver out of Ohio State also, and how he had such a strong work ethic, strong character background when he was with the Saints there. I thought, man, and I went on here and said, man, if you were to pay a guy, pay this guy, right? As soon as he got that money, he got injured, but also, air quote, if you look this up, behavior issues in air quotes, right? Some guys just simply lose their drive to win. And that particular bit, it's a diva position. I mean, not all guys, but a lot of them, there's a lot of data there. And also, it doesn't necessarily equate to Super Bowl wins, okay? You see where this team was one game away from getting the 1 seed. If it wasn't for so many injuries on the defensive side, maybe they win the Super Bowl this year. Who knows? But anyways, Brandon Ayuk, you look at Michael Thomas, you look at A.J. Brown, you look at the other highly paid top wide receiver pay-wise, does not equal. You got teams that are not even in the – look at Jamar Chase, no playoffs. Justin Jefferson, no playoffs. C.D. Lamb, no playoffs. I mean, that's a top 3 right there, you know. It just does not make sense. It makes sense this year because the guy's on a rookie contract. Now, you say, well, what can you do? Well, if you get the right offer, if you get a monster offer for him, and I would try to, and it's hard to keep things quiet, but if I'm John Snyder, you call around. You call around other teams and see if they would want him. Would they give up 2 first-round picks in a later third at another time for this guy? That would be my asking price. Now, of course, he's coming into year 4. You could potentially extend him and then have the idea of trading him at another time so it's not a holdout, or you can simply not pay him this year, pick up the 5th-year option because he's a first-round pick. But there's no way I'm keeping this guy at $42 million and keeping this trying to keep this team in championship contention. It's just no way I'm going to do it. I know you need more to help a guy like a Sam Darnold, but listen, Tyreek Hill, Kansas City moved off of him, won 2 Super Bowls. Miami picked him up, did not win a single playoff game with him. It's great for selling tickets. It's great for fantasy. Play a lot of fantasy. Love it. But when it comes down to beans and potatoes and just hardcore winning and losing and just down in the nitty-gritty, you just do not win like this. Now, if you get a wide receiver, you get a quarterback on a rookie contract there, you can keep a guy like him or an A.J. Brown for a short period of time. Look at this with Stephon Diggs. 2-3 years with these receivers. Then you move on. It's just a lot of it is in the psychology of the position, and a lot of it is this straight up winning and losing, and just does not pay. As I said last week, and the week before that, for that matter, with these wide receiver over interior offensive defensive linemen, I go with the offensive lineman every time, folks. Every single time. It gets shown time and time again. They are just a piece of the problem, And you listen, you want to get that guy. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to go receiver first round. I mean, I haven't looked at mock drafts for Seattle. It's still early, but Snyder's thinking, I'm going to get out ahead of this right now. I'm going to try to get out ahead of this. And ideally, you would like to just get the receiver this year, move him in year 2, year 3, year 2 going into year 3, and then you're in the 5th-year option there, 4th-year, 5th. When you're in 5th-year option year, and he's talking about holding out, then you trade JSN. Now, unless you get a monster offer from a team. I don't know who that team would be. I mean, I'm out of Nashville. I wouldn't advise the Titans to do that. But somebody with the rookie, a quarterback on a rookie contract, someone like that per se. Okay? All right. It's a telling sign. And listen, you got to take the emotion out of the game, and you got to look ahead as a general manager of these particular teams. Speaking of going to the college game, I talked about this story. This could have changed college football. This could have put a major indication in keeping college players even longer with the Joey Aguilar, quarterback out of University of Tennessee, challenged the college, challenging the NCAA on eligibility rules, saying that making the argument that junior college should not count as eligibility. I agreed with him. Judge in Knoxville did not buy that. Aguilar was denied Now he's going to go to the NFL Combine, which is later on this week, and compete with the other guys. And that's okay. That's okay. So I'm looking at, so that's not going to happen. You're a junior college. They're going to count that as eligibility. It is what it is. As far as Tennessee is concerned, with their quarterback situation, I was reading up on their second-year player. He's a four-star guy, best player at the state of Tennessee in 24. This is George McIntyre here. He's a redshirt freshman here, but he's second year in the system, and he'll be competing with Faison Brandon. Now, Brandon is a highly coveted guy out of North Carolina, the 5-star guy, one of the best players in the class here coming in for Tennessee. That being said, this McIntyre's got a football family. His grandfather used to coach for Vanderbilt, I want to say in the 80s here. A lot of background there with him. Very athletic guy. We'll see how that battle comes out in camp. This will be very interesting to see how these two compete. And, of course, they got a guy named Ryan Staub, transferred from Colorado. Tennessee will have one of the more interesting spring practices and battles there coming into spring camp. And, of course, we'll really find out something come fall. We'll kind of have some lingerings there from the Tennessee camp there on how that particular deal will work out, okay? But I think Aguilar will be fine, and we'll see. We'll see how this thing works out with the with the University of Tennessee. Not as dire for them as I thought that it would be coming in. Okay. All right. Now I did mention about the Kansas player here. I did make a note about this, and I want to say his name is Darian Peterson, considered to be the number one player, have comparisons to Kobe Bryant as far as a player is concerned out of Kansas. Story of the day, checked himself out of game. You could say Bill Self has just about had enough of that. That's a Kobe Bryant move. Listen, God rest his soul. It was a tragedy with Kobe Bryant, but as a player, folks, very selfish, very hard to coach. If it wasn't for Phil Jackson and that psychology degree, I don't know if he would have had any success in the NBA here. But Dick Vitale, I thought that he made a great point here, and I want to say this is Dick Vitale put this on the X app on Saturday at 8:15. He says sometimes a divorce is good for everyone involved. And I firmly believe that needs to happen now with Kansas Hoop, and the Darian Peterson soap opera needs to end. It's been a nightmare for all involved. So sad as Darren's talent is off the charts here. The guy's missing you don't know if he's injured. You don't know if he's sick. Some are just saying he's protecting himself for the NBA. And he's wanting to get his, and this is what a guy like Keith Engel says, that NIL has run the game. I actually like the game better now than I have liked it because of NIL, because you're bringing in more veteran players that may be marginal bench players in the NBA or maybe semi-pro guys overseas somewhere. And now they're playing college basketball, getting better marketing and better money. And it's a better quality game. That being said, this is one of those situations with this guy. He's coming up with an NBA type of persona there. And Kansas is they're not a Final Four team to me. Very talented, but you can tell they lost again this past weekend. This is really having an effect on the team. You said, well, it's injuries, it's that. No, this guy, he's a me guy. When he checked himself out of games, he's got a lot of people in his ear. Going off to the NBA and play like the rest of those entitled guys that are in the league. Not all of them, but a lot of the American guys, and it's unfortunate. But Dick Vitale usually don't say this, but listen, you know, I, that being said, I do believe it would probably be better if he just would just move off. Won't let him play the rest. But say he needs his NIL money. That's the only reason he's playing. It seems like he just don't want to be there. They would probably be better off with the marginal player. So I'm pretty sure Kansas is looking at that. When you recruit guys like this, you really have to look into their character. Like I said earlier, Cameron Boozer, much better team player, court vision, and he might not be the talent of this guy, but he's definitely a better team player. He's definitely uplifts Duke more than this guy lifts, or lack thereof at Kansas. And I mentioned the other guy from BYU, great numbers from. Let me make sure I get his name right. AJ. Oh God, Dembesta from BYU, much better player. You can't get him off the court. His numbers are even better than Boozer's right now. But kudos to Dick Vitale, who's had a lot of health problems. I heard him this weekend at Vanderbilt. He was helping doing color commentate for Vanderbilt in Tennessee, and Tennessee finally gets a close win here recently. I wouldn't say finally. They kind of shake off that 14-point blown lead they had against Kentucky and get a win over a ranked opponent like Vanderbilt. It's a good win right there. And shame on Vanderbilt for letting it get away. So anyways, we'll see how that works out. This guy's going to be gone. You really have to take caution in recruiting these type of guys that are air quote considered the number one prospect. Okay. All right. Sad news out of Minnesota. The Vikings, Rondale Moore, looks like he had, self-inflicted gunshot wound, committed suicide over the weekend, folks. Listen, I work in the medical field. I do medical carrier work. And every day I go to the psychiatric center in Vanderbilt. And when we have stats that we pick up there, they're put in paper bags and stapled. You cannot see the name of the patient. In other places, when I pick up a stat, I have to call it in and say the name of the patient. So that because I'm a routine guy, so a stat driver does not come and pick up that particular stat. Means something that's important that needs to be done immediately. We have a lot of those because that's the psychiatric center. And but my point is, those are put in paper bags. They're stapled. Their names are not disclosed. The hospital does not want us disclosing the names. They don't want to disclose the names whatsoever. Okay. If you're a guy like a Rondale Moore, your name does not. You can get treatment for mental health. I know due to the stigma or the perceived stigma. I don't think the stigma is what it once used to be, but because more and more athletes are talking about mental health, I think Kevin Love had something to say about it and whatnot. But for you to go ahead and get the you can get mental health treatment without anybody knowing about it, or very little people knowing about it, or whoever you want to know about it. There's always hope here. You don't have to avoid it for that. And there's a lot of guys. I'm a guy, I tell you, I got pride. I don't want people knowing my business. I get it. But you can do that. It's a public service announcement on that. Thoughts and prayers on Rondale Moore. I thought he was a promising player out of college. Came out of Purdue, I want to say. And, as a player, kind of bounced around with Arizona. Not a lot of consistent play. Had a great career. Just a very sad, tragic story there. And I know it's happened more often than it should in the NFL, in pro sports and in particular, because I followed NFL so much. With stories like that, particularly with players that have left the game and had the suicide. I mean, people want to blame it on I forgot the head injury now. It was so early. I'm getting a little tired. Uh, oh God, I'll think of it later. But either way, there is hope out there. There is hope out there, folks. Thoughts and prayers with him and the Viking organization. There, I know that's going to leave a cloud over them coming in to this particular season. This little PSA there. So, folks, on that note, if you like the show, share the show. I'll be back here live. I'm looking for another guest here. Probably look back at some of the guests that I haven't had on in a while, and we'll talk about the biggest topics here in sports here. So, folks, you all have a good week. You have a good Monday, and I'll try to be back here live here on Wednesday. So, I will see you then, if not sooner. Thanks, everybody.